What is up, YouTube? NEKROZ here. I want to discuss in some pretty major detail the ARG ban list. So basically, for Rhode Island, Providence, of course, Charlotte, North Carolina, and the 25K, they're going to be using this custom ban list. Now, this is because we don't really have any major events until September with YCS Toronto and regionals kicking back up. So, working with ARG, they want to try something new, kind of see where the community gauges things here, and, you know, go from there with people's opinions and things. The list will be revised constantly after every event, so if there's an issue with something, it will be addressed immediately. So, first off, we'll start with the ban list. Djinn, of course, everyone in the current format hates the fucking Djinn lock. Like, let's be real here. It's one of the major issues we've had growing up with the community. Is, you know, it's not so much NEKROZ, but it's the fact that you can lock your opponent basically into a soft lock, and basically can ensure that your opponent has to have some forcible destruction to take it out. And it's definitely something that a lot of people have been wanting. So taking care of a constant already big problem. Next up is Lobble Chain. Now, Lobble Chain's been something that's been growing a little bit steadily as more cards are released. Lobble Chain always pretty much promotes some degenerate OTK in some way, shape, or form. And I know a lot of people think that eliminating the card to 1 will take care of the threat. That might be the case, but outright limiting things and destroying them by banning it, really taking care of a problem. It's been pretty much around for a long time, and I know, like, I don't like cards that promote OTKs. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like Lobble Chain and its setup ability, you know, being able to send something from the deck to the grave, or, you know, top decking a monster to ensure a really good play. But in some cases, though, the card is very dangerous for the game, and nipping the problem in the butt before it becomes any more of an issue. Next up, VANITY'S emptiness. So, emptiness. If you guys remember Royal Oppression, it kind of makes sense for the community to want this card destroyed. It's been around for quite some time. It's always been an issue. You know, the card is one of those things that, you know, it went from 3. Finally, we're taking care of it now. Not going to let it be much more of an issue. Just the fact that, you know, yes, it does have the easy flaw of, you know, you getting rid of it pretty much for free. But the issue is, at that point in time, though, it might be too late, because I can chain that shit onto a mirror, and I can just pretty much net all the free advantage that I want. All right. Next up, NEKROZ of TRISHULA. Now, this is something that I don't necessarily agree with, because of some further changes later on in the list. Looking at some of the concepts and things behind the Japan format, you know, UNICORE's hit to 1 in Japan. It's also hit to 1 on this list, which we'll discuss when we get down there. But the deck losing TRISHULA, I feel personally that the deck loses a lot of that steam. And it's pretty much a major disappointment to see NEKROZ of TRISHULA get banned. I definitely feel like limiting it to 1 with UNICORE at 1 would have pretty much done enough damage, or you could have followed OCG suit and also limited cycle. But outright limiting, or excuse me, banning TRISHULA pretty much takes away the only real firepower that the deck had. Yes, Ally of Justice is a thing. You can still do triple Colossus, but the loss of Djinn, I feel like, would have been just enough to wrap it up. Royal Magical Library. Just general FTK promotion here. Just clean it up, get it out of the way. Same thing with Fusion Gate as well. Blaze Phoenix with Nodin and things coming out here soon. Really, really major issues. So, once again, going through the ban list. Djinn, Lobble Chain, Emptiness, NEKROZ of TRISHULA, Royal Magical Library, and of course, Fusion Gate. Now, on to our favorite 1-0s. Limited to 1, haha, Seer, Mal branch of the Burning Abyss. So, a lot of people want to graph hit because of its searchability. Problem is, Seer sets up combo plays, and it's one of the major issues that I think a lot of people really discount. The fact that he's the real problem and not being able to search the deck or anything. Seer makes the combos live. Seer With Seer at 1, your opponent now has to make really bad plays. And I think that taking care of Seer right away really puts Burning Abyss in check, and it's really the only real major thing you have to do. Next up, Zen Mighty. Many of the TCG players have been wanting this for quite some time. He's not much of an issue currently. Yeah, triple Wonder Factory is a thing. Taking a page out of, Blackwing's book, it's not particularly the best thing on the planet. It's still good, don't get me wrong, but the wind-up loop, Shockmaster is not a thing. There's no real reason for Zen Mighty to be gone. Next up, SHADDOLL Fusion. This is probably pretty much one of the major problems in the deck. I know a lot of people think that just hitting the regular SHADDOLL Fusion will clean up the mess. No, it won't, unfortunately. It's the fact that you can quick play combo off of your opponent's plays. And speaking of SHADDOLL, Construct also is getting limited to 1 on the ARG list. Pretty straightforward what they're trying to do here. Construct with SHADDOLL Fusion have both been pretty much problem cards for quite some time. The general things and comboing off of the deck. Definitely limiting these 2 cards will put the deck a little bit more into check, in my opinion, as well. Next up, I need to drink some water for this one. Next up is Mistake. So going around the North American WCQ, the card was pretty much a 1-card answer to all decks. And that's the reason why Thunder King is limited to 1. Also, looking at it, Euros, the SHADDOLL player flipped Mistake, won both games because of it. Excellent example of a floodgate that needs to get limited. A very, very, very power creeped card. I would even consider the card ban-worthy at this point in the game's creation, but I definitely feel like limiting Mistake to 1 definitely cleans up some of the problems and things that we've had in the game. Definitely should make the game a little bit more healthy, not being able to have a card that says, I flip this card, I win the game, basically. Next up is NEKROZ of UNICORE. Now, we talked about this earlier with Trish. Limiting this card takes care of your rank 4 plays. I mean, you've also lost level chain, so there's no more combo ability there, which is pretty important as well. Also, the fact that you're going to have to focus more on Colossus and Valkyrius, making Star Eater probably your relevant mirror target. No longer going to need that Blue Eyes Ultimate in your extra deck, level 11 becoming a little bit more of a thing. But, as I said before, NEKROZ of Trish should have went to 1 with UNICORE at 1. Yeah, I understand Cycle is a card. It's very understandable. But most players will only play 2 of each mirror. So depending on how, you would go about playing your 1 of Trish and, your 2 of Brionic, you got to be very careful with your card choices. And I think that's something some people pretty much underestimate. Next up is our good friend, Instant Fusion. Pretty much just taking care of some problems with Nodin before they arrive here. Also, just taking care of some general combo ability and issues like that. Next up is Stratos. Now, this is either going to be make or break for this particular format. Looking at a lot of the OCG, yes, I know OCG has different ban lists than us. Triple Wastes of Dragon Soul, Trouble Call the Haunted, Mass Change, Soul Charge. All of these cards make Stratos absolutely a devastating card. All because he says, when I'm summoned, search my deck for a hero card, add it to my hand. So you have to remember, Dark Law is going to be a lot more of a problem than a lot of players are giving it credit for. Most decks don't have an answer for Dark Law. Dark Law is big. Dark Law is love. Dark Law is life. And I feel like a lot of players are really discounting Dark Law in this format. And, if you can get a card that good on the board, then you can pretty much blow out your opponent. Following suit with Stratos, though, is Bubble Man. This was pretty much a necessary hit to bring him back. I'm not going to lie. Having multiple water targets in your deck to combo off, really, 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 really problematic. So, limited to 1 is Seer, Zen Mighty, Construct, SHADDOLL Fusion, Mistake, NEKROZ of UNICORE, Instant Fusion, Stratos, and Bubbly Man. Limited to 2. Need some more water for this. INZEKTOR, HORNET. Inzektors have always been troublesome with Dragonfly and our good friend Hornet. The fact that in that deck's time, The fact that you could just infinitely loop cards and burn your opponent out of resources while capitalizing special summoning, setting up more plays with Dragonfly, Hornet, and Centipede was absolutely ridiculous. And that's why the deck first got hit in the first place. Bringing Hornet back to 2 gives the deck a little bit more firepower. And in my opinion, I definitely think that the deck gets a little bit better. The deck is nowhere near broken at this point in time. We have to work with moving Dragonfly for that, but I don't know if it's time for that yet. Limited to 2, Summoner's Art. Klee really didn't get hit that much on this list. If you're looking at this and you're wondering why did Summoner's Art get hit, you have to remember that Wavering Eyes pretty much just came out. You pretty much have a replacement card already at your disposal. And I definitely think bringing Summoner's Art to 2 is an okay hit, but it very easily gets replaced with Wavering Eyes, so you really don't miss much there on that particular hit. Next up is Torrential Tribute. Taking up Emptiness gave us back Torrential. 2 Torrential in this format will really blow out your opponent. I know a lot of people really are like, oh, you know, only 1 Torrential. No, 1 Torrential is bad, 2 Torrential is really good. And it's a really terrible mindset looking at that card like that. But being able to control your opponent's board and blow out your opponent at any given time off of a Threatful Summon is absolutely beautiful. You know, it's one of the only few cards I consider, you know, a massive blowout now. You know, like Raigeki is really okay on your turn, but being able to destroy everything on your opponent's turn is really good. So, next up, Rescue Rabbit. So, the first thing I saw when I saw this was like, you know, Evil Swarm might be good. You know, looking at this also, you know, Dino Rabbit kind of gets a move. I don't know if Dino Rabbit's good. You know, Tour Guide saying it's kind of dead. But Evil Swarm is a deck. If you're an anti-meta player or a casual player, this is your chance. I mean, you can play a semi-decently cheap deck, you know, pretty much right out of the Hidden Arsenal 7-packs. Insert $3 or $1 to $2 Karikions into the deck, you're pretty much good to go. You know, you'll have a well-rounded matchup with Pandemic, so you really won't have to worry about your opponent blowing you out. The only issue you'll have to worry about is maintaining your trap board, you know, your set 5 with your Ophion that you got from your Rabbit, you know. So definitely have combos there. Next up, Wind Up Magician. Woohoo! So with Zen Mighty coming back, they also decided to give us back the Magician. Now, can you guys say that Zen Mighty, Magician, you know, Shark, Factory, all exist now? Now, I don't know if the deck will be good. Kind of comparing it to Blackwings, though. Blackwings aren't particularly the best meta call at the moment. But the deck is still existent. And that's definitely something that you really need to consider in this format is maybe you'll run into the deck. Maybe the deck will make Ptolemaeus and rank up into a threat. It's definitely possible. Next up is Dragon Ravine. I'm very indifferent about this. I also think this card should have went to 3. You know, MST is a card in this format. The Dragon Rulers are gone. The only annoying play that I could ever remember was activate Dragon Ravine, discard for cost, search for, you know, Dragoonity Ducks into Phalanx into Variana, bring back your guy, combo into Stardust, and then you protect your Dragon Ravine. That play is absolutely not even good right now. And once again, my issue with this is Dragoonities, they do have combos. They once again promote OTKs and FTKs, you know, just because one summon gets you automatically into a level 8 Synchro. And, you know, bringing back that card, I definitely think it should go to 3, but you have to be careful with the card because, once again, you're promoting OTKs of the sort. It's been a little bit since I've seen a Dragoonity OTK because the card's been limited. But once again, with level chain gone, moving back, you know, Ravine, it should be fine. I think we'll definitely see Ravine back at 3 and a list or 2, or a change or 2 in this, but we'll definitely have to see. And then last up is Dante. With Seer hit, I know a lot of people are like, why hit Dante? Most boards that you see of Burning Abyss make is pretty much always going to be 3 Dante. I've seen it many times, but, you know, most other rank 3s aren't that good. Most of rank 3s are pretty terrible. You know, Mechwhip Danganier is okay, Levier is okay, number 17 is okay if you want a 2500 attacker. You know, but Dante's, you know, Limiting it to 2 takes away some of their resources and forces them to go into a not so good card. And in my opinion, that's good because it makes an already annoying matchup for a lot of people a little bit easier. Plus the fact that Dante floats is absolutely ridiculous as well. So our limited to 2, once again, is INZEKTOR, HORNET, Summoner's Art, Torrential, Rescue Rabbit, Wind-Up Magician, Dragon Ravine, and Dante. 2, 3. Chaos Sorcerer. Now this is something I'm worried about. Chaos Sorcerer at 3, in pretty much all scenarios, is almost always bad. And I say that because every time we've had it back at 3, we've had some kind of issue with the card. Granted, in the speed of the format has increased. The reliance of lights and darks has changed in the game state. There really isn't a good deck that can rely on lights and darks at the current point in time. So Sorcerer might be fine at 3. But it's one of those cards that eventually it will become a problem. Someone will find a way to degenerate it. Sorcerer 2 was fine. 3 is a little bit more ballsy. But I definitely would always be aware that that card exists in play, especially as 3 of. Next up is Sacred Sword of 7 Stars. This was pretty much an interesting move. Dragon Rollers are gone. It was pretty much the main focus of the card. Now you have access to basically reviving a level 7 draw engine. And in my opinion, that's fine. You know, having access to just removing level 7 to draw 2 cards. You know, Destiny draw is a thing. I don't know why Sacred Sword hasn't been moved to 7 yet on the Konami ban list. Next up is Global. Now, the only reason that I can generally see Konami trying to leave this card just where it was KMP. Kalikuri Machine of Plants. This deck hasn't been relevant for a long time. Will the deck continue to be relevant? Maybe. 1-for-1 is still at 1. KMP was only the only deck to ever play more than 1 copy of Bulb. And it really wasn't an issue leaving it at 1. Bringing it back to 3, though, remember, the effect's once per duel anyway for yourself. So it's definitely something you need to consider. But with the moving of Bulb from 1 to 3, KMP gets an additional level 1 Earth Tuner that they can summon off of 1-for-1. Whether or not that's good or bad is to be seen. But just the moving of Glow Bulb in general allows for KMP to be played again. And last but not least, the Heat Resistance. Dark Hole to 3. This is also pretty straightforward with what they were attempting to do. Absolutely no reason why this card should be at, 2. Raigeki, as I've said before, Dark Hole should have went to 3 long before Raigeki went to 1. And now you have a format where you have double Torrential, triple Dark Hole, Raigeki. You have a lot of outs. And looking at the format as a whole, though, I definitely think that, the way things are going to be shaping up here, I definitely think that this format will be very heavy monster destruction. If you're not playing floaters, you're going to get punished. My forecast is I'm expecting a lot of heroes and a lot of Burning Abyss. Looking at this, Seer might have got hit, Dante might have got hit, but still very good. And don't underestimate heroes because America hasn't adapted to the new OCG mentality of playing the deck. I was reading some comments the other day where people were like, oh, why would you ever play Oasis of Dragon Soul in the deck? And I'm just like, do you not keep up with Japan? We might have different ban lists, but, concepts are shared. Things are interpreted from each, ban list. We do pay attention because sometimes they'll break the game and we'll be curious about it. And don't forget, Clown Blade is coming. I look like I'm having a stroke, but you guys know what I mean. So this list will be played for the next 3 ARGs, Providence, Charlotte, and I believe it will be the 25K as well. So, and I would be expecting changes and things like that as well. So guys, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about this. I know that this is going to be a little bit hard for some people to swallow, but this isn't always going to be a thing. ARG should be going back to the Konami list roll around September. That way people can, continue to take one deck from one format to another, and they won't have to play separate formats for that. So this is for now. So relax. We don't have a major event until September anyway. So, before you guys get really angry about separate lists, just relax. Something to be taken care of. So guys, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys are thinking, and I am
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please thumbs up this video to show your support. And please check out VANKOhl40 for Cardfight Vanguard, mkohl Games for miscellaneous trading card games, and No Limit Gaming for a brand new series of Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks for watching.